What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim. Can everybody hear me good? Make sure the levels are up good. Somebody left a comment the other day. They're like, we can't hear you at all. You need to put the closed captions on. I don't know. I'm pretty loud. I have it. I feel like, I can hear it in here. So, sounds like I hear it just fine. You guys hear everything fine? Yay, Mystic Gypsy. I know. So we're the Midnight Warriors tonight. Tonight's going to be different in that I want to lay out to you guys my personal theory on kind of like the year that led up to Charlie's assassination and the progression of everything and where it kind of started, I think. We will jump around a bit. I also have some research in here. If you guys saw Candace's episode and you saw Baron's episode, hearing you in SF. Wait, San Francisco? What's SF? Yeah. Lots of weirdo trolls following the story. Okay. Yeah. Well, so in Baron's episode, he reported on Lori Frantzve, the deep military ties, and a photo. However, he misreported. He wasn't in the Marine Corps. I was. She wasn't an E8 or an E7. The ranking on her shirt is an E9. So she's either a master gunnery sergeant or sergeant major. And I did deep research into those ranks and billets in Romania in 2005 or from 2010 to 2018. And it was freaking interesting. I mean, she could have been an OPSO, a logistics officer, comms. I think it's comms based on her patent and what that did. It much more like she worked with like intel gathering and different things. We'll look into it. But so in the year leading up to 2025, sorry, I don't know if I'm dealing with something in my throat. I'll have to clear my throat away from the mic every now and again. So just give me, someone's here from Texas. What up? All right. Oh, Mystic Gypsy and Vicky are in Texas. Okay. I just moved from Texas. I was in McKinney, Texas for all last year. No longer there. But all right. So if Charlie and Candace were close, and they were close to the very end, and I can show that even with this. Okay. So let me show this. Let me make it big for you guys. Okay. Can you guys see this? All right. It says, let me make sure I'm sharing that. Cool. I am. You know, this is the famous text. Most of the people just saw the top. They didn't see the bottom, but I'm going to read the whole thing. Charlie Kirk said, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Kevin Freeman says, Charlie Kirk says, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Philadelphia cause. Now, Mr. D, so this is a group chat that was created, I think, by all of the pro-Philadelphia individuals like Josh Hammer, Seth Dillon, and many others. So, well, let me read it, and then I'll give you my 2 cents. It says, please don't invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times. And then it says, after dust settles a bit, maybe, and then it cuts off. So I think that group text that everyone was a part of was created after October 7th, when Charlie really started dissenting from the pro-Philadelphia cause. He goes on the PBD podcast. I showed that in the clip yesterday. And he said, BB in Philadelphia, I got to be careful how I say this. They got a mandate to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Okay. We also know that in 2020, I think it was 24 or the beginning of 25, I forget the timeline, but it was around there when Candace was having major issues talking about what's going on in Philadelphia and Gaza. Charlie and Candace both were becoming more and more outspoken about it. And we saw the clip about Charlie and Megyn Kelly for the backlash that they were getting. Most attempts in the past, when individuals that are of that descent, of that religion and culture, first will try to emotionally manipulate you by using words like anti-Semitism. You're being an anti-Semite. That's anti-Semitic. You need to apologize, retract, and stop what you're saying. That didn't work. Charlie had people around him. So first, I always think it is they're going to try everything they can with words to make you change course. Then they're going to try to scare you. Well, which one came first? I think the black, like the bribe, the money, like offering money, it came like, I can't tell if that came at the same time for Charlie or after, but it's kind of similar with Candace. It's like they threatened to fire her job, which isn't the same as like, I'm going to give you money, but like it has money tied into it. So it's like affecting you with finances when the first tactic doesn't work. Then it's threatening. Okay. Like I'm going to scare you into submittance and bowing the knee. And then I think when that doesn't work, I think that's what happened with Charlie was the final card, which was take him out. But so we're going to look at this. If you guys saw, what's her name? The one that was at the Religious Liberties Commission in DC. She was a Catholic. She spoke out to Seth Dillon, but also the other guy. And she was like, so, Catholics are not pro Philadelphia. She's using the Z word. Does that mean all Catholics are anti-Semitic? He said, yeah. He said, if you're not pro Philadelphia, but he's using the Z word, which they're using that word to say that, and it's so weird what he did. He said, if you're not pro the Z word, but Philadelphia, ist with the IST on the end, he didn't say what it means. He said what people that are like that do is deny that people from Philadelphia and that descent don't have a right to the land. Candace and Tucker and Megyn were never making that claim. So they're saying that you have to be pro. I just wish I could say it. It's so hard. I know that on X and other platforms, you say the ZIONIST word, your videos are done. A lot of my videos where I talk about certain people and certain things, the videos do horrible, which is interesting. I don't know if they're doing it on this platform. People have speculated that they are. Yes. Yeah. Carrie Prejean Boiler. She stuck up for all of us Christians, okay? And we saw what Trump did. He sided with Philadelphia. They fired her. And I don't know if you guys saw the post on X. That guy is such a, I'm not, you know what I mean. All right, so one of the issues was the definition of anti-Semitism. I'm going to show you. I want you guys to go back and watch this this episode that Candace did. Let me find it. Here it is. This is when she was still working at the Daily Wire. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to look at the date. I couldn't find this on. So this is on News Monkey headquarters. um, channel. I couldn't find it on hers. Yeah, so it doesn't have the actual date. I'm trying to find the date. I don't see the date. All right, but all right, so we know that everything that was going on with Candace at the Daily Wire. All right, and she was being extremely outspoken about what was happening in Gaza and what happened on October 7th. I mean, even Charlie himself said he thinks there was a stand down order. He says that on the PBD podcast. He said he doesn't believe that Hamas could have made it through the border. He said he's been there many times. Charlie has. There's an IDF soldier like every 20 feet with a rifle. This place, Philadelphia, is the size of New Jersey. This attack went on for hours and hours, and no one came. It just so happens that they have all this footage filmed that they ended up using for documentaries to indoctrinate and as propaganda. And in this podcast interview, this guy, this Rabbi Barclay, who is a complete tool, tries appeals to authority, says, you're not from Philadelphia. I'm not going to say the JEU or JEWISH word either. I just really, everything's getting so sketchy right now. You don't have a right to tell me what the definition is. And in fact, the definition of anti-Semitism is not fixed. They're so smart. They've made a definition, and in the definition is that it mutates over time. So there's never a fixed, defined definition of anti-Semitism. It was one thing 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. It was another thing during World War II, and it's totally different now. And he said, no, that's the uniqueness of it. That's the unique horror of it. Do you remember when they said, when George Bush came out and was like, we have a war on terror? Wait, a war on terrorism and terrorists? No, we have a war on terror. The word terror and the idea of terror. That's what our war is on. I mean, it's that kind of genius propaganda to wage a war against terror. Anything can be terror when you do it like that, and that will last forever. The military industrial complex was like perfect, brilliant. And in that same token, an ever evolving and ever changing word where this is their get out of jail free card for everything. You can't criticize anyone, even someone like Rabbi Shmuley. Like, don't get me started, this guy. And so I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing. If you guys like it, I mean, Candace is such a beast in this. I watched it, but it literally took, my wife was like, you need to calm down. I was watching it and I was like pausing. I was like, this guy is insane. He was triggering me. I was becoming triggered because of what he was doing was so obvious. He'll stop at times and he'll go, so Candace, and like talk all soft and all slow. But the moment she doesn't back down, he like gets all just, it's just disgusting. I have a feeling he got off this phone call. He goes in the other room to his wife and he drops the N word with the hard R and just racially slurs on Candace hard. He couldn't stand that this black woman was sticking up for herself and not bending the knee. No, I'm not going to apologize to you. And no, I'm not going to admit that that's the definition of anti-Semitism. No, I'm not going to admit that what happened on October 7th is categorically so much more horrific than any other atrocity ever in the past and ever in the future. He was trying to get her so much. You could tell the goal of this was not for him to understand. This guy wrote an article without watching her videos. He admits it in this freaking interview. He didn't watch the video, so he saw clips, and then he wrote this hit piece on her and called her the most vile, racist, and like she's an anti-Semite and all these things. he didn't come on here to understand. He starts out like, I really am optimistic. It's all play. It's all a facade. It's all acting. Because when he doesn't get what he wants, he loses his cool. You can see it on his face. He'll stop looking at her. He rolls his eyes. He's interrupting her. He's yelling at her. It's just despicable. And then he's like, you need to apologize. You need to recant. You need to admit that you said anti-Semitic things. You need to admit that what happened on October 7th is so much worse than anything else. And it's way worse than what they're doing in Gaza. And here's the thing, when you learn the mindset. So I wrote a thing earlier today. I don't want to read it all because it has like the J word, JEWS, and the ZIONIST word. But I'll just lay this out to you guys. Okay, in the Torah and in the history of the Jewish people, dang it, I just said it. See how it just comes out? Well, whatever. They believe, and I think it was in Barron's members only podcast, and also the guy, the Babylon Rising that Candace showed, I forget his name. He did so many documentaries. You should go to his channel and subscribe. I've just been watching all of his work on like the Nephilim and Nimrod. Really amazing stuff. You can only go max for the truth. Yes. So the Jewish people believe inherently they're one of like the only group of people that actually Jewish supremacy is baked into their religion. Okay. They're one of the only religions that I know of. I'm sure that there's others, but that it's not just a religion, it's also their ethnicity. And even if you're non-Jewish by blood, you can convert, but you're never really like, you're not really Jewish. You're like, nah, like they don't really look at you the same. Okay. Because Jewish people believe that when God created the different humanities, the different human groups, he chose the Jewish people themselves and said, he chose them. You are my people. You are set apart. You are different. And then the archons, these other angels, got to rule over and govern these other people groups. Those angels ended up being the fallen angels who rebelled against God and ended up becoming demons, right? And the Jewish people believe that the people that were ruled by them. So if you know about the Talmud, there is a Babylonian Talmud, and then there is a Jerusalem Talmud, which is an oral tradition that's been passed down since the Babylonian captivity and onward. It is written down as well, but in there it talks about, if you guys seen the Einstein files, where Einstein talks about non-Jews as Goy, I think it's IM. I don't want to pronounce it. You know the word. It's a negative word for anyone that's non-Jewish. They have certain rules and regulations on how they're allowed, how they have to deal with other Jews. Like they're allowed to lend to one another with no interest. They can't lie to one another. They can't steal from one another. Like they actually have to treat one another good. But they're allowed to do all those things to us. They're allowed to do usury with us. They're allowed to lie to us, cheat, and steal. It actually says in there that those that are non-Jews are less than dogs. We're non-human. We're subhuman. We are to be ruled over and subjugated over. And that's why even since the creation of Israel, I said it again, dang it, since the creation of Philadelphia, man, this is hard. They've never actually been our ally. We have no formal treaty with them, okay? You can look back in history, time and time again, they have spied on us. They've stolen state secrets. They've stolen technology. They've sold it and given it to either the highest bidder, China, or the Russians during the Cold War. During the most tumultuous time with our adversaries, they stole our nuclear secrets. That's how they got their nuclear program. And yeah, they don't have to classify that they have a weapon, and they totally do. So there's separate rules for them than for everyone else. And because they view everyone else as less than them, and that they are for sure, they believe they are superior than everyone else, No one can ever be a true ally to them. They don't feel any obligation to tell the truth or to be honest with anyone else. Okay. And so when we look at this, keep that in mind. This guy is so pissed off that he's not getting his way with Candace. She is a pit bull, thank God, and she's not backing down. And you guys can let me know in the chat. Philadelphia no show in the war on terror. Yeah, no, they never gave anything. They'll get us into wars, and we have to send our women and children and die for them. Okay. They've never given any kind of soldiers or anything support. We pay for them. They're literally a welfare state. Okay, they use all of our technology. We give them billions of dollars. We fight their wars for them. And they do it. And this is just a theory, guys. Okay, don't shoot the messenger. It's just a thought. Okay, if you follow the idea that even Charlie believed that October 7th was either allowed to happen, and here's the thing, when you go look at the Jared Kushner 60 Minutes episode, they said, it's Jared Kushner and his like right hand man, it's on 60 Minutes. I implore you to go watch it. They said they had the plans, the rebuilding plans for Gaza were already created 2 years before October 7th. They already had the plans. The plan from the beginning was to rebuild Gaza into the Palm Beach of the Middle East, where Jared and Trump and all these people were going to make billions and billions of dollars building a whole new place. Okay. A resort town, a vacation spot. But what would you have to do first? You'd have to ethnically cleanse the area. You'd have to get everyone out. You'd have to level the area. Well, you need justification for doing that. Look back at 9/11. Look everything that happened and how they lied to us about everything. That we never would have voted. We never would have done what we did in Afghanistan and Iraq unless there was justification that we thought at the time, that we believed at the time. And we all believed it. But look at history. History proves that it was all BS. And most vets know that. I know that. We were there. It was a joke. It was tragic. And look how we pulled out. And so there's proof that Philadelphia was part of planning. When you look at the Philadelphian art students that were on the specific floors in the World Trade Tower, the Trade Tower Center 1 and 2, the North and South Tower, the ones that were filming it, jumping on top of the minivan. There's so many connections to Philadelphia and 9/11. Okay, so like this isn't, and false flags is for sure a real thing. Just go back and look at history. I could quote all of them. They're almost all false flags. There's almost been no real provocation for war. They've all been fabricated and manufactured to get us riled up in a state of, we don't think clearly when things like this happen. We're in a highly agitated state. Our brain shuts down a little bit and we react emotionally and defensively. It's totally a real thing. But anyway, so October 7th for sure fits the bill of something like this. Like how we either going to let it happen or they even maybe helped it to happen so that now they had complete justification to do what they're doing. And it makes total sense why they're trying to frame it as even worse than the Holocaust. They said it's worse. I'm not going to play that part unless you guys want to see it. But he's telling Candace, and Candace is like, wait, you're saying October 7th is worse than the Bolshevik massacre and revolution? It's worse than the Holocaust? It's worse than what's happened in Rwanda, Uganda, the Congo, And, the Philadelphian people, the people of Philadelphia, are not the only people without a land group, like a country. There's plenty of people groups. The Kurds didn't have a place. No people group actually have some sort of justified right. Like, what about the Native Americans then? Like, I mean, people get conquered. It's just a part of history. Like, that's just what happens, man. But this is the thought I didn't finish. Without World War II, without the Holocaust, Israel doesn't get created. I mean, when you look at like Fritz Tyson and certain individuals that funded Hitler, and the NAZI party. It's interesting. I'm just saying it's interesting. Look at what's happening now. History seems to repeat itself. Um, and there was for sure an outcome from World War II. And one of the biggest outcomes was who benefited the most in the long term. Not all the people that were massacred in all the concentration camps, obviously not them, but the really, really elite individuals in that people group that were able to flee and weren't persecuted. They are some of the most rich and powerful individuals today. Their families are, they're the descendants of. Now they have a carte blanche forever card to claim anti-Semitism, to claim, the atrocities of the Holocaust, guilt, shame, and then that literally is the reason why they got the UN and why Israel, and it was purchased by the Red Shields. Okay, the Red Shields, that's a term I'm using instead of actually saying their name. Bought the land, and it was like the British, something land of Palantai. I don't want to say that word either. Danks came up with a word earlier for saying that word. That place existed. It was real. It existed for a long time before Philadelphia was created. And they just took it from them, and the Red Shields bought it and gave it to them. So I mean, it's all just it's not coincidental. It looks like it just one thing led into the other, and then look at what's happened with this little country ever since then. Anyway, all right, let's take a look at this. That's enough. I'll get off my soapbox. All this dirt on Erika, so obvious that it's flat out insane. Yeah, wait till I show you some things, guys. All right, I'm going to show you this.
Communities in the Middle Ages, anti-Semitism is a hate against their religion. By the time you get to the 18th and 20th centuries, when so many Jews have assimilated, they are in culture, they are in arts, they're in science, it's no longer against them for their religion, it's against them for their race. This anti-Semitism is the oldest hate in the world, and the hate that mutates. In 1948, because remember, it's as Lord Sachs.
Oh, I just want to pause it. You said it's a hate that mutates.
Correct.
So your belief then is that the definition of anti-Semitism can necessarily change. Is that correct?
It's not just my belief. It is the commonly accepted understanding in both the Jewish and academic worlds.
Oh, so an appeal to authority. Oh, the people that are within the Jewish community, they get to make all the decisions. And then all of these academics, you mean the academics that said, oh, go get the jab. Oh, this is a real thing. This COVID-19 thing. Oh, like we trust people in lab coats anymore. No. We don't trust someone because they got a DR or a PhD in front of their name, or they have some sort of title. These individuals care so much about status and symbols and degrees, and they think that gives them the right to tell us that because we don't have those things in front of our name, we can't use our brain, we don't have a say, and we don't get to have an input. And he does it throughout this whole interview. Oh, you don't know, Candace. You're not Jewish. You're not from Philadelphia. You don't have the education. You're not an academic. Who are you to say anything? I'm here to tell you what you're allowed to think.
Okay.
This isn't, okay. As I said, that's why I quoted, this is a quote. It's a great thing from Lord Sachs, Jonathan Sachs. It's a great thing from Nihilecka. This is just accepted as.
It's not accepted, dude. It's accepted by all of you freaking, my goodness, man. It's not accepted. I don't accept it. Candace doesn't accept it. Everyone in the comment section, we don't accept your ever-changing, evolving definition of anti-Semitism. This guy is so pompous. It's unreal. Buckle up.
Understanding of, I call
okay.
anthropologists,
so I would just say off the bat, I do not accept that definitions can just mutate. That is something that I could debate that on, like the definition of a woman. I mean, and I'm saying not just about Jewish people. I think that we have to have a concrete definition to work with, because then you can just update and say, actually, I've changed that, and now this is what constitutes anti-Semitism.
But Candace, that is the horror of anti-Semitism. So what you are saying to me is that anti-Semitism is this and does not change. What I am saying to you is that the entire world and scholars about anti-Semitism recognize that it is a unique hate. That if you define it as that Jews should not be able to exist collectively.
Mm-hmm.
No one has ever said that Jewish people should not be able to exist collectively. We haven't even said, because you know what? You guys already took the land. You bought the land. You got the land. No one says you don't have a right to that anymore. You got it. There's no way we're taking it away from you. Okay. What we're saying is we have a right to criticize the political structure and the government of Philadelphia, and especially when they have so much influence in our political system, when they are spending so much money in our political system and giving money through AIPAC and through these FAR filings and what they're doing in Palatine. I got to find out. You guys got to give me a word in the comment section. Like, what can we call Philadelphia? Danks just voted the other day. He's calling it Boston. I know Coach calls it Philadelphia. Barron calls it Philadelphia, but what can we call what the place where GAZA is? And I'm just trying to be very cautious about what I say and don't say so that we don't get docked.
Okay, as a collective, they shouldn't have that right. That changes from the Middle Ages with religion, the 18th through 20th centuries about race, and then after Israel's created, it's a hatred based on the nation. And until that is understood, that it is, this isn't something that's really questioned about among academics, theologians, Jewish scholars.
He keeps referencing that, and that they do this all the time, man. Okay, we don't care what you have to say that you're telling us we have to think and believe and agree with you on. And because some rabbis and theologians and academics say that they all agree on this, that's BS. They all agreed that, it came from a bat. Okay. They all agreed that we all needed to get the jab. All right. Like, they've lied to us about everything across time forever. So your time using that kind of argument, it's done, man. And Candace doesn't put up with it.
I'm not presenting it. This is why I thought that I'm so optimistic about a dialogue. But I think part of it is you view that the hate can't mutate. And what I'm trying to tell you is that we have 2,000 years of history that demonstrate the exact opposite.
So, and I'm going to just push back just gently here.
Good.
For me personally, if I thought that racism could just be an ever-shifting definition based on the experience of Black people, it would be a remarkable power, and I would be able to create something like BLM, which could say that everything was racist. So I am not going to be able to agree that definition should be able to transform according to what's happening during the day. But here's what I will say. If you could, just because I think it's really important for us to get to going through this article, because then you might be able to explain why you view it as anti-Semitism. If you could just give us what you are saying the current definition of anti-Semitism is today, that would be very helpful.
The current definition of anti-Semitism today has to do with what the feelings are. It has to do with anti-Zionism, number one. That is a definition.
Let's hop over real quick, guys. I found something. So this is Zach Costello. It's just because I knew exactly where it was on his feed, and on this video. And so I'm going to share it from here. It is the talking point. It's clear that they have a united front, but make sure if you don't know who Zach is, go over to his channel. He's an amazing Christian dude. He does great content. He's on the side of truth. He loves Candace and Barron and Ian and Coach. We're all on the same team here, trying to keep us free and keeping truth out there.
Well, for anyone who isn't a Zionist, at least, I'm Zach Costello.
Just to be clear, is anti-Zionism anti-Semitism?
Yes.
It is under IHRA?
Rabbi, you're up next.
You're not sure? So what is the definition?
I would love to speak to that. Undoubtedly, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, and undoubtedly. And one does not have to support the specific policies of the government of Israel, but to not support the right of Israel to exist, which is
No one said. So they're conflating this every single time that that they don't have a right to exist. They're saying that to be Zionist is that you have to support the right to exist. No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. And if you're not that, then you are anti-Semitic. And it's just so insane that they keep just conflating this. And he does it again. Just watch.
what anti-Zionists do, while not taking that same stand to the 28 Muslim countries and 13 Christian countries in this world, is a double standard, is hypocrisy, and is absolutely anti-Semitism.
Well, as you know, I'm a Catholic. And Catholics do not embrace Zionism, just so you know. So are all Catholics anti-Semites, according to you?
As I said, anti-Zionism, by denying the right of the Jews to have their own state while not.
No one's denying you guys have you have your own state. You already have it. What are you talking about? No one is arguing that you don't have a right to that land, even though, I mean, most of us agree that you didn't really have a right to it. It's, yeah, you have the biblical right to it, but like everyone else in the world either loses it or conquers it. It's just part of history. You guys bought it. You took it from people that were there. It's pretty unfair, but you got it already. We've moved on. We're not arguing about that. That's not what that word means today. Okay, that word means something else, but you keep saying that's what it means. And if we're not that thing, then we're anti-Semitic.
Saying the same for any other peoples, that is a double standard, hypocrisy, and anti-Semitism.
So just to be clear, are Catholics anti-Semites?
Carrie, excuse me.
He
I'm
won't
going to
answer.
interrupt the discussion. Our committee is focused on religious liberty taken from all people, whether they be Muslims, Jews, Christians, Sikhs. We've had all the.
And this is the piece of work that wrote that post and fired her with the blessing of Trump.
Those witnesses here. This is not a commission on defining religions or calling out any theology or.
Has been removed.
Yeah, so this is the Dan Patrick. Carrie Prejean Bowler has been removed from President Trump's Religious Liberty Commission. And I mean, it goes on. You guys can, I think it's on X. I don't want to read the whole thing. It's pretty long. But yeah, they fired her. Yeah. For sticking up for all of us. Yep. That's where we're at today, guys. Let's hear a little bit more.
Zionism, anti-Israel, is anti-Semitism.
Okay.
This isn't.
So you believe that Jewish people can be anti-Semitic?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you see a gathering of Jewish people who say, you know, I'm Jewish, but I don't support Israel or Bibi Netanyahu, you say that person can be anti-Semitic.
You just did two different things and was very. You just did two different things that were totally unrelated, Candace.
Okay.
You said the Jews that do not support Israel.
Yes.
And you said Jews that do not support Bibi Netanyahu.
I'm just saying that because he's the current prime minister. So I'm saying like if they say I don't support.
No, this is where you're missing the point. So
Okay.
I'm going to go under the following premise. Okay. I'm going to go under the premise that you care about people. You and I don't know each other, but I'm going to go under that premise. I'm going to go under.
Hey, I want to check in the chat. Have any of you guys seen this? I couldn't find it on her page, but have any of you guys seen this interview before? Can you put a thumbs up, a yes or a no in the chat? Keep speaking about the corruption. Don't shut up. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Please read Carrie's statement online. Okay. All right. I'll read it. Oh, well, it's not her statement. You guys have seen. Okay. Some of you have seen this. Most of you haven't. Are you wanting to see this? This is why she was fired. Yeah, she was fired. Oh, I don't know where her statement is. She made a verbal statement or a written statement. She accepts his offer for a private screening. Yes. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's insane. I think she's still waiting. That's part of their forced indoctrination. It's like when they make certain politicians go to the Holocaust museums, go kiss the wall and bend the knee. It's insane. Yeah, let's watch. All right, cool, cool, cool. No, it's right under his on X. All right, hold on. Let me hit play and I'll go look that up while I hit play.
The premise that you have no desire to ever hurt anyone. Okay? That's the premise I'm coming into this dialogue with. You have been devastatingly hurtful. And I think that I'm going to go from that you don't understand what it means to the Jewish world. There's a great teaching that comes out of every sociologist, every person in academics, is that I don't get to tell a black man if he's experiencing racism. He knows. I don't get to tell you if you're experiencing misogyny. You know. If I make a comment and it's misogynistic, and you say, Rabbi, you know, that was really misogynistic, my job is to say, wow, I didn't mean that. I apologize. That's not what I meant. And you do not get the right to say what is anti-Semitic or Jew hatred.
I'm not trying to, I don't think I said anything about me having the right. I just said to you, would you then view, because I did host somebody who is Jewish, Dave Smith, on my show. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's a comedian, he's a libertarian. He is not pro-Zionist. So I'm just asking you for clarity, because you're saying that you can't dismiss a Jewish person, but aren't you thereby dismissing Jewish people who say that I don't support Israel as a state? I'm just trying to have you answer that question.
And the answer is, I will ask you back the same question. Are there blacks who do not support blacks? Are there pick the cause or the minority who do not support or not, or actually even better? You and I both sit on the conservative side politically. We share that, right? And we face the same way when it comes to that. And we both, I think, are disappointed in those who are Republicans in name only, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does that mean they're not Republicans?
Well, I wouldn't describe a race as a political ideology, like a political party. That's very different. So to say that you can't be a race, like you're not black if you don't support this, is different than, like, you're basically saying that a Jewish person can't be anti-Semitic. So that would be like saying a black person can in fact be racist towards, or they're not black.
Look, I'm not going to comment on black community. I will say there are plenty of self-hating Jews.
Okay, so you do believe, that's all I was trying to get you to say, is that Jewish people who don't support Israel, you are saying they are anti-Semitic. I just want to understand that.
I'm saying it very clearly, they are self-hating Jews. Let's use that term very specifically. And you need to understand why they are self-hating Jews. And you need to understand, as numerous people have talked about, I've written about, Prager's talked about, Gorka's talked about, Levin's talked about, a number of people have talked about, Shapiro's talked about, as I say, I've written about, is that people want to assimilate. For 2,000 years, Jews have been persecuted, and so they want to assimilate. And so many have converted from Judaism, not to another religion, but to leftist politics. That becomes their religion. And they lose their...
All right, so I went on Carrie Bowler's X, because I went to Dan Patrick's and I looked under his statement. I couldn't find hers underneath his, but what I did find is her like big statement. Is that what you guys are talking about? Are you guys talking about this? Okay, is this what you guys are talking about her statement? Yeah, exactly. It was so much power and control. I know he's so condescending. It's so insane. Yeah, I have, because I took it. Is this the statement you guys were asking to see right here? If you give me your X account, I'll send it to you. All right. Well, yeah, my X is the Black Line Brief. That means I have to exit out of this. Hold on. Let me go back to the other video and share. and then I'll hit play, and then I'll get it and I'll put it in the chat. All right.
Identity. That is a reality. So you need to understand, or I shouldn't say you need to, that's not fair, and I apologize.
Oh.
I would hope that you understand a history and an understanding that we define what anti-Semitism is. And what happened on October 7th, and I wrote an article about you in November. I don't know if you read it or not. I was told that you had, but I don't know if you did or not.
I did not.
Okay. I wish you had, and I really wish you had, because we might be in a very different place. You went on Tucker Carlson after, this is in November. And
okay, go ahead. I'm going to say I want to talk about that because you put that in this article, which was published just last week.
So I wrote a very specific article, and you can find it right now. And it was an impersonal invitation to you and for you, that despite everything else I had read or seen or heard, that my belief and my
dude, his whole like slow talking and like trying to act like he's calm and like he's compassionate, and he's like trying to approach this from just such like an unbiased neutral position. It's so BS. His acting is as bad as Erika Kirk's. They must have gone to the same acting school. It's unreal. It's disgusting. The whole time I watched this, like I lost it. Like it's so hard to watch, but at the same time, watch Candace doesn't back down, and he can't take it. Watch him lose his cool. It's freaking hilarious. I put my X in there for you guys. I'll have to make sure I'm watching the chat so that I can see when you put that in there for me.
Is that your comment of wanting to have an academics discussion about October 7th came from a place of not really realizing what October 7th was. October 7th is...
Oh, part of the whole Rabbi Shmuley thing is in this. It's in here too, because she was being attacked by Rabbi Shmuley and his disgusting daughter, who they sell SEX toys together, and have an SEX podcast together, a father and daughter. So bizarre and weird. But Rabbi Shmuley and his daughter were attacking Candace for 2 years. She didn't do anything about it. And then she finally responds. And in his letter, in his article, his hit piece on Candace, he attacks her and calls her an anti-Semite for calling her, I think, like a witch or something like that. You'll hear it. It's insane.
Unique in recorded human history as the ugliest day of humanity. What was done on October 7th, taking a young woman, taking her phone to videotape her being raped on the corpse of her dead boyfriend, and then shot on it and sending that video to her parents, beheading a man with a garden hoe, kicking a woman until her body...
This is so theatrical. So like throughout this whole thing, dude, he wants to just like really play up the disgustingness of October 7th, so much so that he's going to like articulate it and give you a graphic picture of why it's so much worse. But keep in mind, the reason why he thinks this is because the people that came from Palestine over are not human. They're subhuman. And any other race, ethnicity, people group to put their hands on a Philadelphian individual, to do the things that they did, it is such a blasphemy in their mind because they are so superior to everyone else. He's not going to say that, but that's clearly the underlying thing why they think what happened on October 7th is so much worse than what's happening to the poor women and children and elderly in Palestine right now. Okay. And then he wants, do you guys remember when I did the FAR filing episodes? Part of what they're doing at all the new TPUSA events and the Make Heaven Crowded events and at churches and at Christian schools, the pro Philadelphia propaganda campaign and the geotagging and caching and tracking campaign, they have a mobile 10/7 virtual reality trailer that's going to go around to all these events so that Christians can put on a VR headset and relive October 7th through the eyes of the victims. It's so disgusting. They want to generate this sympathy and this guilt and this oh, man, it's just so gross. It's what he's trying to do here. Like, will you admit to a private screening? I'll talk to Skylar. I'll set it up. Skylar's your producer. I'll set it up. You're gonna come watch and let me indoctrinate you and propagandize you, so then you can watch that. And then he's gonna ask, oh, do you still feel the same? You can't watch that. There's no way you can watch what you just watched and still feel the same way. You're not going to change your mind. You're not going to apologize. You're not going to say it's not the same. It's worse. It's so much worse. You just saw it. It's such a disgusting tactic. It's unreal.
Parts follow. Is unique in terms of the intention to attack civilians. And so in November, after you made the comment on Tucker Carlson about wanting an academic discussion about how, you know, those kind of comments that you made and the ennui that you demonstrate, I wrote an article saying that I would arrange for you. There's a film, a 47-minute film by the IDF. It is all the footage done by the Hamas terrorists of what they were doing so proudly, what they wanted to do. And that my belief was, I don't think that you quite realize that. And I would arrange for private screening for you and your friends. Mm-hmm. And that I would arrange that and then have the discussion about how you feel about October 7th.
Okay. So I just
saw you posted it on my page. Wait, Cat 1121. Did you post it on my X page? Yeah. All right. I'll go there and grab it and I'll bring it back while you guys continue watching this.
Really would like to get to your article because I think it's important. I want to acknowledge your pain about October 7th. You are
wait, that's not an opinion. That's not an opinion.
No, I didn't say opinion. I said I want to acknowledge your pain about
I apologize. I apologize.
I didn't say that. I said I want to acknowledge your pain about October 7th, and I want to get to that because you are you're mischaracterizing what I said on Tucker Carlson, but I do have the clip and we're going to be able to watch it. I definitely did not say I wanted to have an academic debate about October 7th. That's not what I said at all. But like I said, I have the clip. And I do also want, I think it's best for us to dive into what you actually wrote about me, because there are several mischaracterizations, I believe, of what I said, but both of us are going to be able to watch it. So again, this is the article. And by the way, you did say in this article that you heard that I received your invitation. That is false.
I did not.
I think it's important to just maybe name the people who told you that I received your invitation.
No, I'd rather not do that, especially since you're saying that it's incorrect, and in which case I apologize.
No, you can apologize. I just think that like a lot of the reason that things happen is because there is this sort of back channeling and discussion, and nobody told me that I got an invitation, and now you've written that I refused an invitation, and so that adds to people believing.
So Candace, I'm going to ask you a question right now. I'm inviting you to forget about the article, because I have no issue and would love to write an article saying I was wrong. Candace Owens does not feel that way. I would love that. So I'm inviting you right now. I will set up a screening for you. Will you come?
If you set up a screening for me after we go through this, I want to also be able to estimate your character by going through.
I'm also reading. I'm trying to stay up with the chat today, you guys, because I love interacting with you guys. Callie Dime, you said, how did they know the person's mother and her contact info? Who are you talking about when you say that? Yeah, look what they did. Yeah. All right, I'll keep hitting play, but I'm trying to keep up with some of you guys, the questions you guys are writing. All right.
Some of the things that you wrote, you did write some things that I believe.
Wait. I'm asking you a yes or no question.
No. And I just said to you, I'm going to give you an answer to that.
Him. He's such.
But I want to first go through your article because I want to be able to estimate.
Wait. I'm asking you a question. I will take the entire article.
I'm not saying I'm not going to answer your question. I am just saying that I would like to go through this, see how you feel.
You said you hadn't had an invitation. I'm asking you. I don't have to be there. I'll set it up for you.
Okay, sure. If you want to set it up for me to have a screening of that here without you there, that's fine. What I'm saying is that based on what you wrote about me, I wouldn't take an invitation from you anywhere. I think that's fair given what's in this article. I think that's a normal human response, that if somebody has written something that is utterly libelous about you, It
Wait,
mischaracterizes
you
what you
just said-
said. But if
just
you
said
want to
the
set it
book
up
beautifully.
separately and you want to send it to the Daily Wire and you want us to have a private screening, I absolutely will watch the events of October 7th.
You know what? God bless you. And had I ever heard you say that, I wouldn't have written an article.
Well, I think you still.
Oh, I want to show you guys something. I forgot I have it on my X. Just a little preview of how. Let me share this. Okay.
Of a nation.
Ooh, I found out. So I don't know if did you guys see you? Yeah, all of you that were there. My episode from yesterday got a small clip copyrighted. I totally forgot you can't play like any kind of music on here. And when Mikey McCoy was doing his dancing, I forgot to hit the mute so that we could still watch him dance and not hear the music. And it was the music. And so I had to edit it, but I wasn't like a copyright strike. They just said that I had to take that part out. But I don't think this is any kind of like music. I think this is just like some weird sound, but we'll give it a shot because it's important what he says. It, like the insight as to how they view themselves and us, and they do not believe in the same God as we believe in. Okay. We believe in the same Old Testament God they believe, but they believe that we followed a criminal, a crazy man, a political activist. They don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. They're still waiting for their Mashiach, and that they actually want to help him come sooner by creating more wars. Okay. Kind of like all the sick people ruling the satanic people. They're trying to get the Antichrist to come back by doing what they're doing at CERN and everywhere else. Well, these people are also trying to get their first Messiah that they don't believe came yet, because they don't believe in ours. And they definitely don't believe in our God, because our God is a triune God. You have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They don't believe that at all. They think we're all stupid for what we believe. Okay. So keep that in mind when you watch this.
One of the ways of bringing about the collapse of a nation is by bringing about the collapse of its economy. Another way is by sending it to war. A nation can lose its glory from war. That is how it happened in the past. The Babylonians, the Persians. The Romans were never destroyed because the Romans split up into many countries. Who is Rome today? Europe and the United States. Rabbis tell us that before Mashiach comes, there will be many wars. And these wars will eventually bring about the collapse of Edom. Not only the economy will be in ruins, but many people will lose their life as a result of this war. And you know this World War II that will be child's play compared to a third war that will occur later on. And all those goyim who brought about so much pain and suffering to the Jewish people will be punished. Every square inch of Europe is drenched with Jewish blood. So I'm not envious of anybody living in Europe at this time. Before a new world is built, the old has to be destroyed.
Yep. So that's what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Let me hit play.
So what up? Because you made a lot of points in here.
No, I wouldn't have. No, I wouldn't have, because I believe in the idea that it's about what we act and learn. And we have a concept called Shuva in Judaism. No, actually, honestly, had you said there, at any point, what you just now said to me, that you would watch a screening, I don't need to be there, that you would watch a screening. If I set it up, I would not have written that article.
Okay. Well, I do still want to go through these points, though, because you
Okay, but do you hear that, please?
Yes, I hear that. And thank you for saying that.
Right.
But a lot of what you wrote in this article is a lot of what I'm assuming you have a friendly relationship with Rabbi Shmuley has been saying about me. So it's really important to go through these points.
All right. So I'm going to jump back to something and we can replay this still. All right. But so this interview happened about a year ago. Charlie and Candace never stopped being close, never stopped being friends to the very end. He wanted to have her back on. He saw what these individuals did to Kanye and what they did to Candace. I think he thought it wouldn't happen to him, because in the Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk episode, where they both are venting to each other about what people from Philadelphia and the pro-Philadelphians are doing to them, they sound so surprised that they're on the receiving end of all of these anti-Semitic slur, statements and accusations. So that was like the beginning of the change, I think. So October 7th, and then watching how they treated Candace and Kanye, and then how they started treating him once he started turning. That text thread, I think, was set up to try to corral him, the one with Josh Hammer, Seth Dillon, and all them. And then as he continued to shift more and more and more, they ramped up the infiltration. And that's the Hamptons meeting, the Aspen meeting. And then when he sends out that text, right after that text I showed you, let me pull it back up right here. So if you guys remember watching Candace's episode, right after this text, that's when the emergency phone call meeting happens with Seth, with Josh Hammer, the rabbi that's up at 4 a.m. in Philadelphia. And they are trying, and this is at home the night before, okay? When we keep in mind, so they're in that condo, right? I'm thinking Gigi's asleep. I'm thinking he's in the office with this phone call, right? He sends out that text. The emergency phone call happens. They have to try to get him back before he goes to UVU and speaks and answers questions about Philadelphia. Okay. He's going to go tomorrow, and thousands of people are going to be there, and millions are going to be watching, because it was the first time they were live streaming it, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. That was said by TPUSA many times. They were not willing to risk this at all. I think Erika's she's listening to what's going on. And I think when he comes out, right when he comes out of that phone call, he's heated, because watch what she says. Let me pull this up. Let me go to the next one. Hold on. I was here. All right. So this is an article that she did 8 days after. All right. Let me make sure you guys can see it. Oops. Nope. You're looking at me. Sorry. All right. Here we go. All right. This is a New York Times article that most people don't know that happened. And I can't believe Candace didn't mention this when she's talking about the night before. Okay. So we know he sent out that text. Okay. I'm done. I'm leaving the pro-Philadelphia cause. The emergency phone call happens with everyone. Then I think he comes out and she notices something, right? During the past 11 days of heartache and anger, Erika Kirk has found herself returning as if by gravitational pull to a single moment. It is the recollection of how, on what turned out to be the last night of Charlie Kirk, her husband, he was too excited to sleep. I don't think so. She said his adrenal glands were just going off. She recalled during an hour-and-a-half interview on Thursday, 8 days after Mr. Kirk, who was 31, and then it says who he is, was gunned down. Okay. He got up and I could hear him eating. I don't think so. I think it was something else. I think she was listening. He came out from that meeting and she was trying to do her part to get him back before they went out the next day, before he went out the next day. Okay. Because think about it, guys. Like he's just cooking. He's just making food. Yeah, it's a condo. It's small, but come on, like doors are shut. Like, is he out there just like clanging and banging everything around? Like he's just making himself some food. Like that's insane. He woke everyone up. No, I think she came out after she was listening to the phone call and it ended. She said his adrenal glands were just going off. That's not because of excitement. That's because of stress. It's a fight or flight. He is heavily stressed. I think he's panicking. And then we know too, that Well, let me continue because I just lost my thought. All right. Something in the kitchen. He had been waiting all summer to begin touring the visits to college campuses. Candace said herself, he wasn't excited to do this. And this is, they're really overselling this. She is trying to oversell that he was like, they're just driving it home, just like we saw with Rabbi Barclay and every other person about that day. They're overselling it. She's saying way too much. She doesn't need to say all this. Why is she giving all this extra information? Oh, he had been waiting all summer to begin touring. The visits to college campuses, she said, were like an Olympic event for him. He trained for them. He had whiteboard sessions for hours, mock debates. He just was so excited. Finally, so Mr. Kirk finally fell asleep sometime later in another bed in the house. Miss Kirk heard him slip out early. This is important because she lies. And another time said that she saw him when he came in to get his ring and his necklace, and she gave him a kiss. But at another time, she says how sad it was that she didn't get to give him a kiss goodbye. She said multiple conflicting statements. And in here, this is 8 days after, and she says, he slipped out. She heard him. She didn't say, I said goodbye. I didn't kiss him goodbye. I didn't see him off. No. I heard him slip out early the next morning. And she didn't get to say anything to him because she texted him, I love you, before he took his chartered plane. And we know that Candace said he wasn't excited to do these events. This is a normal thing. He's done it for years. He didn't need to prepare like this. And remember, Frank Turek and Rob McCoy and all of them are overselling. Oh, he needed all of our help. Josh Hammer, he needed my help. The rabbi in Philadelphia, he needed my help to figure out how to debate with college kids because he just was so bad at it. No. They're overselling all of this. They're trying to give a false narrative for the night before. Okay. He had his ring off. He had his necklace off. Barron just said he has someone that's very, 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 very close and that they were fighting. It was becoming over. The pastor the priest came over to pray over their marriage. Candace said the same thing. She has it on good authority that they fought the night before and that he slept in the other bed for other reasons. Okay. And no. You're not going to sleep in a toddler bed. She's 3 years old. He's 6'5". He's not sleeping in that bed to get good sleep. Erika's lying about this whole thing, and she's lying about him being excited. She's lying about him eating in the kitchen, and it's all to cover up how freaked out and how stressed out he was after everything that had happened leading up to that night. And he says, they're going to kill me. He sends that text to Dan Flood, to Frank Turek, and to Andrew Colvett. They're going to kill me. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay. The picture is so clear. Especially he was going to have Candace and Tucker on at the next AmFest event. They couldn't allow that to happen. Oh, and Lori Cardoza Moore. God's going to lift his hand of protection from you, Charlie. Don't be counted among the Edomites. Don't be counted amongst the Edomites, Charlie. Insane. All right, let me go to the next one. What was that one? Let's see here. Let me make sure I'm sharing this. Can you guys see it? Yeah. I read that part. He got up. He finally fell asleep. Mr. Kirk. Next morning, chartered plane took off for Utah. A staff member later told her that he had overheard Mr. Kirk proclaiming to the pilot as he disembarked, today's going to be a great day. Another BS claim that he was just so excited. Spoke. So I got to find the part because she talks about something with Mikey McCoy in the phone call. Oh, this is so interesting, you guys. Okay, that first paragraph just explains who Charlie is and like what he did. She acknowledged her struggle to make sense of an unfathomable track. Great. She says, I'm allowing myself to feel this so deeply, she said, without medication. Okay, so what? She normally takes medication? Without alcohol. No. You don't drink alcohol. You said so. You said you don't do it. It's not who you are. It's not productive. The Lord is giving me discernment. She's Mother Mary. She's holier than thou. He said she sat in work clothes. So 8 days after the event, this interviewer comes into their house. She sat in her workout clothes with her legs folded under her on a couch in a rented condominium in Scottsdale, Arizona. Her husband often used the condo as a way station between their home in gated community outside Scottsdale and the Turning Point USA headquarters in East Phoenix. I don't think so. I know that they sold their mansion like 5 months before September 10th. If they were going to be getting separated and that's why they were selling the home, maybe he was staying there and she was like staying with her mom. Her mom lives in the area. It's possible that, it's possible there's so much more here than just what meets the eye. We know that someone moved the wedding picture. And then, the other thing is if you guys remember from that episode with Glenn Beck, she holds up the list and it says priorities. It says like family, kids, legacy, kids are number one. And then it says versus consumerism, loneliness, and something else. I think those priorities, so it doesn't say wife, it doesn't say marriage, it doesn't say Erika. Family isn't really talking about your spouse. Like two people can be married and they don't have kids, they don't have a family. The family, when you say family, you're talking about kids. And yes, but like it has more to do that there's kids in the picture. If his wife or his marriage or Erika were on his priority list, it would have been on there, and it wasn't. And it was versus all these three characteristics that I think actually explain Erika. And Erika's the one that was like, oh, that's interesting when she read it for what seems to be the first time. That's just my opinion. All right, let's go on. Okay. Around her neck was the pendant of St. Michael that her husband was wearing when he was taken out. The medics had ripped it off his body. No, that's a lie. It broke, you guys. It flew up over his head. The medics ripped it off his body while attempting to stop the bleeding. No. No medics actually did any life-saving aid. Remember, the security team waved him away, said, no, don't come over here. We're good. It was just his security team. No medics came over. The medics didn't touch him. They carry him to the car. The medics tried to give them bags. They said, no, we don't want your bags. They get him in the car and they leave. There's so many lies. It's unreal. While attempting to stop the bleeding, a trace of blood remained on the crevices of the cross. They just want us to feel so bad, dude. It's unreal. Here's another thing that's very, very interesting, guys, right here. The bathroom floor of the condo was still littered with towels from her husband's last shower. So he left in a hurry. He didn't hang up any towels. He was anxious. He didn't clean. Like, come on, he's a grown man. He's very type A. You want me to believe that he just took a shower and threw everything around? I don't know. I think that the apartment might have been disheveled. I think that, that was the other thing I didn't lay out. So I think that they got in an argument. I think that's what woke Gigi up. I don't think Eating did. I think she approached him after the phone call, tried everything she could. And he was like, why aren't you siding with me? Why aren't you supporting me, your husband? I think her number one allegiance was to Philadelphia and all those other people. And she was trying to get him to do what they were trying to get him to do. And he wasn't going to back down. And I think they got in an argument. And I think that's what woke Gigi up. Not him eating and da-da-da-da. And I think that's why he took the ring off and the necklace off and he slept in the other room, or he slept somewhere else. He didn't sleep in her bed. And I think that the daughter saw them fighting and arguing and was sad, like all young kids would be. And then she took her to bed with Erika, and then he went and either slept in that bed or on the couch or something. That's what I think happened. Okay. All right. That's my opinion. There's a little more than a week ago. Okay. To this day, I can't go into the bedroom. Okay, whatever, but you can kiss him in the coffin. You can forgive the guy. You went in his office and were smiling. You took down the wedding picture, or Charlie took it down. And that's just, I think, another indication that things were going horribly wrong. I'm trying to find the part. Miss Kurt would replace her husband, chief executive. Yeah, of course, Andrew Colvett described it as um, her as its beating heart, spiritual center, and life force. Um, I'm trying to find where, man, where is that? All right. Well, my wife was reading it to me earlier, and she, I can't find it right now. I think those were the only parts that she sent me. She's recalling the moment that Mikey called her and she was with her mom in the hospital, which we know she wasn't. That's to get us sympathy. Like, oh my God, she's like at the hospital with her mom, taking care of her sick mom, and her husband dies. Like, oh my God, we can't check into that alibi. We're not going to look into that. That's just like, oh, so sad. Who would lie about doing that? But then she also says that the moment she saw Mikey McCoy's number on her phone when she was with her mom, she said, looking back, I already knew the words he was about to scream. He's been shot. Wait, you knew he was going to say that before he said it? Why? I thought you didn't know that there were threats. I thought he wasn't worried about anything. I thought he was just so excited. Like, what? I mean, it's just so dumb, like the different lies that they tell. All right, let's see what's next. All right, I did that one. Oh, another thing I can show you guys. Where is it? All right, I'll share this while I pull up something else. Okay, we can continue watching this and listening because she just fights back the whole freaking time, and I love Candace.
Because when you write something like is a Jew hating bigot, that's very strong language, and we need to go through these points. So
we'll go through all of them, sure.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's just begin here. So you basically make the argument that I'm drunk on fame, and that is the reason why I have let out the truth about who I am, which makes me a Jew hater. First thing you say is that this is a woman who is such an anti-Semite and so ignorant of history that in 2018 she publicly said that Hitler was.
Look at his face. Look at his body language and his reactions this whole time. He is so condescending and so pompous. It is unreal. I can't but I love Candace. She's my hero.
Okay. Do you actually believe that I publicly said that Hitler was okay?
So from the recording that I heard, including the congressional testimony, which I think was taken out of context, and from the comments that you said, okay, and you correct if I'm wrong, but my understanding from your comments is you were asked a question about nationalism. And you responded about nationalism using the example that nationalism was good and that what Hitler was nationalistic in Germany, and that was okay. You have said specifically you think Hitler is a horrible, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you have condemned Hitler, thank God, without question. And you also brought him up in that discussion about nationalism. Is that all accurate?
So when you just write, she publicly said Hitler was okay, that is dishonest, because what I actually was saying was answering a question, as you brought up, where we were not even talking about Jews, not talking about the Holocaust. A woman was asking about whether or not it's okay for people today to say that they're nationalist when it's often associated as a dirty word. And what I was saying was that it's wrongly associated with Hitler. I don't believe that Hitler was a nationalist because obviously Hitler invaded Poland. He obviously had ambitions outside of... So what we have the clip, so we're going to play it. So again, the question that's being asked of me is whether or not nationalism is an okay word to embrace. Let's play the clip so we can hear me and what I actually said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism.
So again, we're trying there to define nationalism. Does your statement, she publicly said that Hitler was okay, is that an honest statement?
Yeah. So let's talk about this for a moment. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You were asked a question about nationalism.
Mm-hmm.
You responded with an example of Adolf Hitler.
Yes, I said because Americans associate, the reason why they think it's a dirty word is because of Adolf Hitler.
You respond, and you have subsequently, and I've seen you subsequently, and I think you even said it at the congressional hearing, you have obviously condemned him for who he was. But you brought Hitler's name into a discussion.
Correct.
Okay. And you justified that this is how America feels or how people feel. And that's your take on it. It's not necessarily accurate. And in fact, it probably isn't from an actual sociological standpoint. But that's your opinion. Fine. But Candace, you put in the same sentence what he did if it just had stayed in Germany was okay. But more importantly, and here's a piece of the anti-Semitism. Why bring one of the most evil men of history into the discussion? You could just as easily have given any negative examples of nationalism. You chose to bring Hitler.
So he is the arbiter of what we can and can't say, the analogies we can and can't use, the references to history we can and can't use. Oh, because she used this reference, we can't even talk about this guy. We can't talk about what happened back then. We can't do anything, you guys. And if we do, it's anti-Semitic. And that's just like the carte blanche term that when we say and do anything, we're anti-Semitic or we're saying anti-Semitic things. And it's just disgusting. His arrogance is on full display here. It is so clear how he feels about her. Like I said, he got off of this, and I guarantee you he went and dropped a har R word, the N word, with a har R to his wife, and went and just couldn't believe that Candace took up to him and wouldn't back down. No. None of us are backing down, dude.
Not them.
I did. And I have no, if I could go backwards in the context of trying to understand why Americans think that nationalism is a bad word, it was appropriate for me to bring off Adolf Hitler. It is totally appropriate in any capacity when you are talking about history and historical sentiments to bring up any relevant character that has created those sentiments. So I just want to, again, I just want a yes or no. After watching that, I want to make sure we don't run out of time here. After watching that in context, do you think it is fair that you wrote, she publicly said that Hitler was okay? Hitler was okay.
Yeah. Yes, by bringing me even into the conversation, yes, I do.
Okay, great. Let's move on here, because again, this discussion, we're having it between us, but I want the public to be able to, deduce what's fair and what's not fair. You then wrote this statement: a mere month after the horrors of babies being beheaded, women being raped, and the slews of horrors from Hamas, Owens went on Tucker Carlson's show to speak about how it really wasn't that bad and why should she even care? After all, she seems to think that Hitler was okay, so what's the problem? Is that true that I went on Tucker Carlson's show and said that October 7th really wasn't that bad?
Yeah, actually you did. You did it through the implications and the words. And I actually do know where some of those clips are because I've rewatched it multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And you specifically say you want to have an academic discussion. You specifically say, I don't want to misquote you, that you believe you have a moderate stance.
Okay.
Because you see the children dying and on both sides, and you talk about the pain, and I think you do feel pain about Gaza. And this goes back to the anti-Semitism canvas. What happened October 7th is unique. It is to even make a moral equivalency. This is one of the keys in anti-Semitism and in any prejudice.
It's a key in anti-Semitism. You can't make any moral equivalent. Nothing is equal to what they say happens to them. It's way worse. And anytime you try to equate something else being similar or equal to, you're anti-Semitic.
Prejudice and bigotry is that an inappropriate moral equivalency is created. When someone says that this race, these people, whomever, are like dogs, they've made a moral equivalency between those people and dogs, that is bigotry. That is hatred.
That's literally what you guys do in the Talmud. You literally say we're lower than dogs.
So I first want to debunk the idea that I did not, like, I in any way said it really wasn't that bad. That statement never came out of my mouth. And I also want to show that actually, contrary to that, I condemned what Hamas did. So let's just show that clip of what I said. And then I want to get to your quotation about academic discussion. Let's just show what I said about Hamas. I have seen every single person, including myself, condemn what happened on October 7th. Because who wouldn't condemn terrorism? It's obvious who would not condemn innocent Israelis dying. But if you then say that it is also sad when an innocent Palestinian child dies, suddenly this is pro-Hamas, or you need to say, even when you're talking about how sad it is that a child dies, you need to button that statement by saying, but that child was a human shield. That's not going to be my response. First off, as a mother, that's not going to be my response as somebody who is about to give birth. When I see these images of children involved on both sides of the conflict, I've pointed to the people that are mocking dead Israeli children and said that they are horrific. I am even keel on this matter, and yet people think that you need to be extreme. So people that have become more radical and extreme are perceiving a moderate stance as not enough. And
because I was about to say, people can disagree with you or agree with you or whatever, but you certainly don't seem radical on this topic.
And I'm going to hold here before you comment on that, because your next sentence, as you just said, she wanted to talk about the depravities of Hamas as an academic discussion and refused to even condemn Hamas. So we just saw that I did condemn Hamas. And regarding the academic discussion—
No, you didn't. I'm sorry, but no, you made a moral equivalency between Hamas and Gaza.
I didn't do that.
There is no moral equivalency. What Hamas did is evil. It is not a tragedy only, it is evil. I'm sorry, Candace, but you make an equivalency that does not exist in most people's minds, and certainly in no Jews' minds.
Okay, so I'm glad that you said that, so people can hear what I actually said and hear what you are saying and how you are taking it. I don't know how you could write this statement, she refused to condemn Hamas, when I literally said who would not condemn these horrific events.
You don't condemn them uniquely evil. You put them in pari passu relationship.
So you're saying that even though I did, so now you're admitting that I did condemn Hamas, even though you wrote she refused to condemn Hamas.
What condemnation is? Is this where you really want to go? Is have an English discussion?
No. You wrote she refused to condemn Hamas. These are your words.
Because when you put that, at the moment you say that they have a moral equivalency with anything else, that's not condemnation. No matter.
I didn't. I said it's sad when an innocent.
It's not condemnation, and
is
it's not.
I'll just ask you a question. Is it sad?
Is
it
sad?
Extreme. Sure.
Sit there and do that.
I don't want to just cut each other off. Okay. Because clearly what we are having here is just a disagreement. There's no reason to get angry.
Yeah.
Do you think it is sad when an innocent Palestinian child dies?
He won't.
Candace, I cry every day. And it's not just for Israel.
He didn't say yes. He cries every day, and it's not just for Israel. Okay. You cry because you stub your toe, because you lost some money. What? But no, not for the questions she's asking you.
And this is one of the things you clearly do not understand. The same way most don't, who are anti-Semites, who don't get it. I cry for what's going on in Israel. I cry just as much for what we are forced to do.
He cries for what they're forced to do to those in Palestine. Not for what's happening to the kids and the women and the elderly there. For what they're doing. He's crying for what they're doing, for what the other Philadelphians have to do. That's what he's sad about.
Golda Meir had a great quote. She said that one day we may be able to forgive them for killing Israeli children. We will never be able to forgive them for making us kill their children.
So what about my statement?
No one is making you kill their children. That's insane.
Saying that I also cry for Palestinian children is wrong to you if you also admit it is sad when Palestinian children die.
It's painful, but it is not in any way, shape, or form morally equivalent to October 7th. That is the anti-Semitic bigotry.
But I didn't say that. I just want to be clear. People are watching. It's just not what came out of my mouth. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to get hung up. I don't want to get hung up on that. I want to now point to. You said I wanted to talk about the depravities. I'm gonna quote it. She wanted to talk about the depravities of Hamas as an academic discussion. Actually, I was talking about NATO, and here is the clip of what I said when I used the words academic discussion. Take a listen. I mean, you can go back to me even talking about NATO expansion before things erupted between Russia and Ukraine,
Yes.
and having a meaningful discussion about how much expansion is too much expansion. How would we feel if we had troops on our border? These are things that should be allowed in an academic discussion. You should be able to sit on stage and should be.
Oh, and I always want to give credit to where I found this because I couldn't find the original clip of this. It's News Monkey, who I don't know, though. I've never seen them before this. It's the first one that came up when I pulled this up in full.
Be able to debate these ideas without using ad hominem attacks.
You're using it in the reference, Candace, in the dialogue about October 7th. You're using your discussions with NATO.
All right, I want to show you guys something else. We can come back to this, okay? Tonight on Barron's Live, where is it? Here it is. Do you guys remember seeing this on Barron's Live tonight? If you guys did. So that's Lori Frantzve. And right there, let's see if I can zoom in on this. No, I can't. All right, but I have it pulled up somewhere else. I was in the Marine Corps. This is not an E7 rank. Look, let's look. You don't count the spaces in between. You actually count the rockers, the chevrons. So you got 1, 2, 3 up. And this is not a diamond. This is either a bomb or it's an eagle, globe, and anchor. And I'll show you. So we have 3 up and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I emailed him. Okay. I already emailed him and I posted it in my comments section or on the members comment section. So look at who's giving her an award right here. I'm going to make it bigger for you guys. Okay. Now let me go back to here. Wait, where is it? Where's it? Where'd it go? What am I showing you right now? Oh, okay. I'm showing you his. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh my God. I lost where it is. Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right. Sorry, guys. Look at the rank on his shoulder. So you have 1, 2, 3 chevrons up, 1, 2, 3, 4 down. That's what she has. She has the eagle, globe, and anchor with the stars inside. And I'll show you right here. Okay. So let's zoom in. Right here. Okay. Let me make sure I'm sharing this. Yep. All right. Barron thought it was an E8 first sergeant with the diamond because for whatever reason, he was counting the spaces in between. I don't know why, but she's clearly an E9 and it's not a sergeant major. It's either a master gunnery sergeant or it's a sergeant major of the Marine Corps. It's either this one or this one. Okay. It's not this one. Okay. And it's definitely not an E8. All right. And I'll show you when we go back here. So look at what's on his shoulder. Oh, my bad. I'm hopping back and forth too quick without switching the tabs I'm sharing. Look at his. Okay. And hers back on Barron's is right here. And you can actually really, really see it. It's got the 3 up and 4 down. And it's not a diamond in the middle. It's something else. It is clearly, let's see if we can zoom in here. Okay. It gets blurrier when I zoom in, but on his, which it won't let me zoom in, that's an eagle, globe, and anchor, or it's the bomb, the gunnery bomb. Okay, that's what this looks like right here. Let me make sure I'm sharing that. Yes. So it's either this or this, and it makes a huge difference with the billet that she would be given in her role in Romania. All right. And the big takeaways are, all right, so I don't, let's see. Yeah. So Sergeant Major E9, it would be, but I think she's a gunny. I think it's the bomb. It might be this Eagle Globe and Anchor, but senior enlisted advisor for unit and element. It's over. Hold on. Let me get to the part where I really think it is. Let me go down. Master Gunnery Sergeant, right? Senior technical operational expert in function. It's either ops, log, comms, so logistics, comms, or intel. And I think she's intel or comms. So she is over formally, and this is about Lori Frantzve. I found this on her, okay? Typically SNCO, so staff NCOs, that's above a sergeant, so staff sergeant and up. All right. And enlisted personnel inside the shop function S3, S4, S6. Okay. It tells you what an op master gunnery does is BATM rhythm, task tracking, coordination, reporting standards. A log master gunnery sergeant is accountability, sustainment flows, distribution, and maintenance priorities. A comm master gunnery sergeant is ComSec discipline, network, radio posture, and redundancy plans. Enforce procedural compliance and readiness standards in that lane. All right, let's see. So here we go. What billet changes everything? So the one that I think she was in, so highest formal authority, E9 billets, command sergeant major, task force sergeant major, but I don't think she's a sergeant major. I mean, she's either sergeant major or she's a master guns. That's for sure. All right. But I really think, I just have a feeling it's an ops log comms chief, master gun, functionally powerful inside that shop. And I think it's because the E9s would have access to network, all right, commander, company, senior enlisted leaders. This, for some reason, this scrolled all the way up. I need to go down further. Hold on. And this is in relation to Romania and that base in Romania, and I forget the name of it. I have it up here. Hold on. Yeah, see, Lori Frantzve's real rank and power. Constanta, MK Constanta. Here we go. Operations chief plans, maybe depending on staffing. Logistics chief, sustainment chief, supply maintenance. I think it's either communications chief, secure comms, interoperability with NATO partners, ComSec control, redundancy, continuity, intel chief, reporting, discipline, brief, debrief process, operational awareness, or training chief, range, staff NCO, range safety. Here, let me go down to the bottom real quick. I'm sorry. It's a big document. So here we go. I think she is she was a comms chief. Secure comms. Oh, I read that part. Force. Yeah, I did, right? ComSec, accountability, redundancy, interoperability. Yeah, multinational joint environments. Yeah. Who gets comms access? What gets reported securely? How resilient the node is. Force protection system security support. Enlisted lead coordinating FP procedures and implementation details. Let's see. How strict access control. How strict access control and movement discipline are applied. Senior enlisted liaison. She could have been a liaison as well. Coordinates execution details with host nation counterparts, base services, and training areas. And he talked about the Constanta training area. Friction, removal, permission, scheduling facilities, introductions, and access. Here we go. Even without command authority, Master Guns can access direct access to officer shop leads, the XO, senior enlisted leaders, and regular touch points with host nation counterparts. I think she is the comms master gunnery sergeant back then, especially with logistics, comms, training, and coordination. Okay, so levers of power she can pull, control of information flow, what is real on the ground in her lane, speed and priority, pushing something to the front of the line, credibility signals. Who is competent, who is a problem, affects trust and assignments, gatekeeping, introduction, coordination, resource access, problem resolution, tempo. So right here it says the key question that determines power for a master gunnery sergeant, power equals what lane she owned. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I didn't answer this question yet to get the next prompt, but I want to say it was either comms or log. And we can see what that spits out. But let me go back to, wait, what was this on? Was I going to share this? I don't know if you guys all watched Candace Owens' episode or not. Oh, I think that might be. Let's see who's here still. Are you guys all still here? 196. We got some drop off. I never expected any of this to happen and backfire. Yeah, I know. Me either.
It was an analogy, an analogous way about how we should be able to discuss October 7th.
From a foreign
There is no analogy.
Okay. So you think that it is fair after listening to that, me talking about NATO and me talking about Russia and Ukraine and saying that we should always be able to have an academic discussion about foreign policy. You think your statement still is fair, saying that she wanted to talk about the depravities of Hamas as an academic discussion?
Because you're using that context and you're the one taking your own quotes out of context.
I played it. I didn't take it out of context. I just played it.
Then play the whole paragraph we were talking before. That's the entire issue.
I did. So the first part was what I just showed you. That was actually a split clip. The first part, the first half of that was when you, the one that we just showed you, when you said that I said it really wasn't that bad and why should she even care? The first part I say I condemn Hamas. And then I said that I've been consistent in always saying that we should have a topic. We should be able to discuss foreign policy removed from ad hominem attacks because that is the truth and that's how I feel. But to be clear, I just broke out academic discussion because I was referring.
Candace,
okay.
I'm going to ask you really simple questions. Okay?
No. I want to keep going through this. I think it's important here.
It's about this. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. Do you ever mean to hurt people because of their race, religion, or color? Ever?
Do I ever mean to hurt people? Say that
because of their race, religion, or color? Ever?
I can't hear the last part of it. I don't know why I'm not hearing.
I'm sorry. We'll apologize. We know about the technology. Do you ever intend to hurt or want to hurt anyone based on their race, religion, theology, color, etc.?
No, never. Not once.
All right. What you need to hear is your statement. I'm not alone in this because it is in the whole context of October 7th. It's hurtful to Jews.
Okay.
And I'd like to give you an analogy that I think that might really help our dialogue, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
A number of years ago, a movie came out called The Passion of the Christ. Did you see the movie?
Yes, it's a wonderful movie.
Okay. And I saw the movie as well. I saw it the opening day and saw it twice, and I arranged for a screening of priest students, minister students, rabbinic students, rabbis, ministers, and priests. The Loyola Marymount when I was a professor. Okay. I realized something in watching that movie. There are two movies going on. If you accept Jesus as your savior, then that movie is so brilliant and so painful about his suffering that it transcends everything else, and that's all you see. And I think you just said it was a brilliant movie, and as many of my friends did at Loyola, etc. I think it was a brilliant movie too as well. If you don't accept Jesus as your savior, you're not so emotionally attached to all the suffering that Gibson portrays so well. And so what you do notice, as an example, are all the anti-Semitic things. So I had a discussion with a woman who's the senior vice president of Loyola when the movie came out. She said, Rabbi, there's no anti-Semitism. I said, actually, I'll give you an example of one scene. There's a scene of little Jewish kids who chase Judas and they morph into demons. And they're wearing modern 20th century yarmulkes. And they have classic Jewish stereotypical faces and they morph into demons. And with modern yarmulkes, it's that trope of Jews as demons. And Lainey said to me, I don't remember that scene. And I realized in that moment, she was so emotionally involved in the suffering of Jesus, she didn't notice the anti-Semitism. but both are true in the movie. You may not have the desire to have that pain in your heart, but what I'm trying to tell you is by having a conversation with Tucker Carlson under the umbrella of October 7, which is what that segment was about, and saying that you have a moderate stance, that there should be able to be discussion, just like there is about NATO, it validates the reality of the absolute evil that is unique to October 7. Had you asked me on October 6th what to do with Hamas, despite that in their covenant of 1988, their charter, which I don't know if you've read, despite the fact that in Article 7, 11, and 13, they call for the destruction of all Jews. If you'd asked me on October 6th, I would say we should do whatever we should do for peace.
Now, I do want to move on, though.
All right. We can finish this up at another time. I'll notice where I leave off at 36:35. Because we've been going now for almost 2 hours and you guys are such troopers. Let me read some of you guys' comments. Stop acting like demons and we won't call you demons. 100%. Okay, at Inky, believe, yes, she was. Okay, this is like all the BLM arguments. Yeah. He thinks he's got something. Yeah. I think this one of the interviews that lead to her term. Yes, it is. No, that's what I'm saying. I think this was one of their last attempts to get her to publicly apologize, to recant, to bend the knee. If he was able to get her to do this, look at the face I paused on. Look at his freaking schmug face, dude. I'm done looking at him tonight. If they could get her to apologize, recant, and say, I'm sorry for being an anti-Semite or anti-Semitic things, she could have kept her job. That's my personal belief. This was an attempt, and that's what I think they did with Charlie. They tried all modes first, whether that be emotionally blackmail, tried to manipulate her just like him, then like last-ditch efforts, crisis intervention, threats of finances or bribing with money, offering to give you money or threatening to take money away from you and then take you out, right? And for her, they fired her. For Charlie, they took him out. And so I think they go through these steps and they try other means first, but they have, okay, fine, that didn't work, we'll do this. That didn't work, we'll do this. That's my opinion. Yeah, he is so ick. Yeah, the Passion of the Christ relates to October 7th. Give me a break. She shouldn't be wearing that as a civilian. Nope. She's not a civilian. She was at the time, but I think she clearly was a retired enlisted E9, 100%, which is how she had those connections. It's why she was working directly with the military, why her daughter was. And if she like was high up in intel and different things in that role as Master Guns, it would be maybe classified, and that's why we don't know. And her DD2 could be sealed or something like that. Her DD-214, which is her discharge paperwork. And there might not be any like official record of her being in the Marine Corps. Yeah, super insane. Mystic Gypsy did a great job tonight. Bree Baby X, thank you as well. Okay, she had a lucky escape. So much better. Yeah, 100%. They did her a favor. Yep. I wish they could have done that for Charlie. Matthew, you're a pleasure as your mods. Thank you for all your perspective. Allows us. Yep. Candace is better off without daily. Yeah. What do they call it? The daily tire, the daily. I forget the joke. It's a play on words and they're making fun of the Daily Wire. God knew what needed to happen. Yeah. I also think that the whole, and Candace alludes to this, when Charlie went out for that donor in Miami, she said she thinks how she found out about him and why she was even able to question him about that is suspect. Whoever told her or however she found out that he did that, which allowed her to question him directly, which then he lied to her because whoever told Candace probably knew he would lie. And then they had a falling out. They wanted Candace out of the picture totally, out of TPUSA, out of events, out of Charlie's life. So Charlie could be isolated and surrounded. You always do that when you want to take advantage of someone or you want to manipulate them and control them. You isolate them. You cut them off from their close friends and family. And I think that's what happened. Yeah. Yeah, release the Kraken. Yeah. Oh, thanks y'all for all the love. Y'all make it worth it. Thanks for being here. Yeah. And let's see. Oh, I want to show you guys something. Let's see. Let me share this. Let me refresh. Let me make sure you guys can see it. Let me make it bigger. All right. We are at 4,366 and climbing. In the last 28 days, this channel has had a total of 4,060 new subscribers. Let's keep it going by smashing the like, hitting the subscribe, clicking the notifications, and you guys can create clips. You can share, and then I'll share this with you. Finally, my second step for monetization, which is like memberships and super chats and badges and hype stickers and all that, is done. This was in progress. Now what's in progress is in the review, and then boom, then we can start doing more things, and I can start doing more things for the community and for the channel, and it'll be really cool. So that's super exciting, and you guys deserve all the credit for that. I love it when you guys are in the comments and you're like, you guys hit the like, hit the subscribe, and if you can, you don't have to do it tonight because everyone's in a different time zone, but later, you already watched the live with me, but just go back to this video and then just in the comment section, just put something. We get credit for the live comments, but you don't get credit for the comments in the video. Like these don't port over there. They're separate. So let's see. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera like that. That's the desk. Okay, I can't imagine what Charlie was thinking as this was unraveling in front of him. Yeah, pretty sure that they were getting a divorce. I think it was a military factory. Yep. Yeah, that's what Barron clearly said, what was going on there. Hugs to you, to thank you. Comment. Thank you, Bree Baby X. And Training Center Planning Hub. Yep. Why would they have hit that? Why would who have hid what? Congrats. Congrats to all of us. Congrats to everyone. Thank you. Earthquake test, BLB. Yes. Let's see. No, never seen it. And then the last one says yes. Does anyone have any last comments they want to post before we sign off, or any questions? I want to see this. What do you want to see? Tracy Bradford. What do you want to see? Night at King. Oh, the next live. Yeah. I'll make sure to post it in advance, and because I have other stuff that'll tie into this as well. So I'll make sure to post when I can. Tonight was crazy. I was exhausted. I've been up since like 4 a.m. Worked all day, got off at like 6, drove home, and wasn't sure if I was going to go live. Kind of talked about what was on my mind after watching Candace and Barron. And it's kind of like what I opened up with. I ran through my theory of things. I think it's really, we're getting a clearer and a clearer picture every day. And I really think Philadelphia, Lori, and Erika, and some people at TPUSA and high up, they're all in on it. Yeah. Yeah, very difficult. Yeah, I don't think they accounted for how close they were and how well Candace knew Charlie. I just don't think they accounted for that. And they also didn't account for us. We were, and Candace was and is, and we are the curveball they didn't see coming. Yeah. They didn't see us coming. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time. Everyone have a great night.